cruelest thing a kid said to your family? My 15-year-old son Stephan refused to see his grandma because she was just a boring old lady with the same boring old stories. I was heartbroken. If it wasn't for her age, my mom, Grandma Alicia, was the coolest person out there. Unfortunately, my son couldn't see it. Whenever we'd visit, he chose to stay on his phone the entire time. When she made him mac and cheese, he refused to touch it. When she spent months knitting him gloves for the winter, he looked at me and mouthed the words, "Kill me now," while she was still in the room. Sure, he was a teenage brat, but one day, he really stepped out of line. Grandma Alicia asked him if he wanted to learn her secret cookie recipe to share with his girlfriend. Stephan groaned, "Nobody wants those dry cookies, Grandma." She smiled sadly and nodded. "Oh, okay, sweetheart." I was angry. More than angry, I was hurt for her. She had done nothing wrong to get such an attitude from him, and I wasn't going to let it slide any longer. The following Friday after school, I told Stephan he was going to visit Grandma whether he liked it or not. "No, I'm not going. Whenever I visit, I'm bored out of my mind. Go without me, Mom." I pulled the plug on the Wi-Fi. "You're going, or I'm taking everything away. All your gadgets, your computer, your skateboard, everything." "Fine," he groaned. I shook my head at him. "You know, one day, she might really be gone." "Good," Stephan shouted. "Then I won't have to waste my Saturdays like I have to do now." I waited for him to grab his things and throw them into the car before driving over and dropping him off. My son and I visibly gasped when we saw Grandma Alicia draped in overalls and a welding helmet. "Mom," I called out. She winked at me and dragged us over to the garage to show off her new fully restored 1970s Mustang. My jaw dropped. Stephan stared. "I heard you think I'm boring," she said to Stephan. "Let me show you something." They drove off before I could process what was happening, drifting around the farm. My son got out of the car, wobbling around, his eyes full of life. I smiled, quickly snapping a pic of them laughing. "Well, I'll leave you guys to it. Thanks again for watching over him, Mom." The following day when I picked him up, Stephan hugged me tightly and told me all about the most incredible day of his life. Apparently, Grandma Alicia brought him to a tattoo parlor that her old friends ran for decades, even showing him a sick giant scorpion tattoo along her lower back. Then at the vintage record shop across the street, she found her old band's album and performed part of the guitar solo in the actual store. "Grandma said she taught you how to play guitar too. Why didn't you guys tell me any of this?" I laughed. He talked about his afternoon at the skate park, how she outperformed every single kid there on freaking rollerblades. Like, "Mom, did you know she was part of a roller derby?" They ended the day stopping by a dive bar to play darts with the owner and spray paint legal graffiti on one of the walls in the bathroom. Stephan paused, his voice suddenly soft. "Mom, I was really wrong about everything I said. Can I see her again next week?" I nodded. "Of course, sweetie. Go pack your bags while I talk to her quickly." I knocked on her bedroom door before entering. She smiled at me, but her breathing was ragged and her body looked weaker than before. I sat down beside her on the bed and leaned on for a hug. "Mom, he loved it. He wants to come back and do it all over again." She laughed softly, a tear running down her face. "That's wonderful. I'm so glad he had fun with me finally, but I don't think there'll be a next time, dear." My chest tightened. I hugged her again and gave a quick goodbye before heading home with Stephan. 1 week passed, and Stephan kept texting Grandma memes and asking when they could hang out again. No response. "Is Grandma's phone broken?" he asked me. I taught her how to use her new phone last time, so I don't know why she's taking so long to reply this time. I held back my tears and handed him a letter she'd given me from the last visit. Stephan's hands shook as he read her handwriting. "Stephan, my sweet grandson, I had 3 months left, but I chose one perfect day with you instead. I have no regrets. I didn't want your last memories of me to be just an old lady tied up to tubes and machines. I wanted you to remember me laughing when you called me effing cool. Don't swear around your parents. That'll just be our secret. About those dry cookies, it's actually your grandpa's recipe. He was always terrible at baking, but great at making them with love. I want you to live out your life like I did, then grow old and retire peacefully. Then you'll understand every boring old person you meet was once someone who lived so hard they needed to rest. But man, do they have some wild stories. I want that for you too. P.S. The Mustang is yours. Take your mom on a nice trip for me. Love, Grandma Alicia." Stephan ran up and buried his face in our hug, sobbing his eyes out, yelling, "She's gone. Why?" At the funeral, Stephan wore the ugly sweater she made for him. He learned even more incredible stories from everyone. Her arrests during women's rights protests, the countries she visited, the people she'd helped, and Stephan shared his memory too. One day, I'll write a book on her.